Okay. So my project is an AI-powered financial literacy app, and it is a personal finance app that you can use. And I made it with Python, Streamlit, and Gemini API. And I made it with the goal of providing the users with financial literacy and the knowledge that they need and guidance that they need to be able to manage their finance, whether that means to earn more. Sorry. And yeah, so the purpose of the app, hold on. Uh, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think my Wi-Fi just got off, but okay. So, like I said, the app is just designed to improve the financial literacy of the users, and you have a CSV, which is a comma separated value file, which you can like upload through Excel, or if you just have a list of, uh, think of it like your credit card expenses. If you have a list of transactions, you can upload that too. Okay, and the app also gives you a like a pie chart, which kind of helps you visualize your spending patterns. So let's say most of your expenses are spent on transportation or rent or food. It's going to show you how much percent of your expenses are delegated to which expense. And the app also has a survey, so it asks the user a bunch of questions. So an example would be like, what's your goal with money? Do you want to save? Do you want to invest? Do you want to lower expenses? Another example would be, um, what do you plan? What's your saving goal for? Let's say, how much money do you plan to save in a year? What percent of your income would you have liked to save, and things like that. So once there's even a manual option for the user to enter their income and expenses, so if the user doesn't have a CSV, you know, which if the user doesn't conveniently have a CSV already, they can just manually type in their income and expenses that way too. And so what this does is that the you know Gemini API, which is Gemini, it takes in all of the, I mean, just in general, all of the data is taken in on the app. It takes the input, and it I made a prompt with Gemini, including all of these details that the user has put in, and I asked Gemini, what's some financial advice that the user can use based on all of this data. And so what Gemini does is it gives an answer, uh, whether it tells you to decrease your spending on transportation, whether it means to uh, try and save and try and invest in this type of stock, and so on and so forth. And uh, just so to speak, I'll show you how the app works after I'm done presenting. So as I mentioned, the app it mainly works on the user input, and this basically just includes the income that the user makes, uh, and this also includes the expenses that the user spends their money on. Like I said, housing, food, transportation are a few examples, and they can also upload a CSV. And the app also includes a pie chart, like I said, the survey, and the AI-powered advice. And this is a screenshot of a page of one of few pages of the code that's used in the app. And the technology I used, the technology stack, was first of all Python. Just that was the coding language that I used, just for the logic, for the data, for the prompts and everything. Streamlit, which is kind of the front end. So without Streamlit, this would all just be code. It wouldn't have a visual appeal to it, and the app wouldn't really work appeasingly. And so Streamlit just provides a web interface for all of the code that's here. And last but not least, Gemini API. So uh, this is basically just the Gemini chatbot that was used. So this is with the help of the prompt, gives the user the financial analysis and the financial advice that they need. So how the app was developed, I used Python, and Python was everything was written in Python. This is so that it could handle the input that the user gives through the app. It also helps with categorizing just the entire roadmap from like the 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 options the user has with selecting to the actual pie chart itself. And visualization, I use the matplotlib library on Python, uh, also with the help of Streamlit. This is so I could have created the pie charts, which helps the user just visualize their spending and understand more deeply where their money is going. uh, and the AI integration, which is used with Gemini API, I think with AI in general, I think prompts are very, very important in order to, achieve the answer or the result that you need. And so I made sure to like test the prompt. Initially, it gave a very long answer that wasn't really um, it was very informative, but it was too long to read. It wasn't convenient. And so I had to test the prompt repeatedly and make sure to tweak it here and there, just so the answer that Gemini gives is convenient, it's short, it's concise, and it's detailed. That way, the user can just look at it at a glance and take a look at what they need to do to improve their spending habits or their saving habits. And then Streamlit was used for the UI, and the reason why is because just Streamlit offers a nice front end. There's many features that you can have. You can have graphs on there. You could have you could tweak the every individual font that was used in the app. So Streamlit is a nice like front end for the app. Without Streamlit, there wouldn't have been a website for it. Uh, and so impact and future potential, like this is what I hope the app could be in the future. This is like scaling opportunities basically. And so what it does currently is it just helps users build better money management habits. And what does that mean? It means that if you don't know too much about finance, if you're not like some if you're not like that experienced, let's say this is a target audience could be young adults. Let's say you're in university and you're spending your monthly allowance like this, the snap of your fingers, and you don't know why. And so this is who this app was tailored for. Just anybody who is not really educated on finance. So somebody who wants to spend less money and earn more money, just to put it simply. Uh, and the app also provides, data-driven insights for financial decisions. So it takes in the data that the user gives. Let's say, for example, the CSV the user uploads, including their income, their expenses, and the category of the expense. It takes in all of this data, and like I said, plugs it into a prompt in which Gemini can use this specific data from what you've given it and tells you more and gives you more informed decisions. Uh, so what the app could be in the future? You could have options where you can put in your debts. Maybe if you have a mortgage, maybe the interest rate on loans that you have, which could better accurately you could more accurately calculate your expenses from there long term as well. Uh, One really big thing that I could add is user accounts. So instead of just seeing the advice firsthand and just not having it safe somewhere, I could add in a kind of login system where the user can actually have an account and store the responses and store all of the advice Gemini gives, so that they can look at it, long term, right? Let's say a few months down the line, you want to reevaluate your finances. You can take a look at how you used to spend your money a few months ago and see if you actually applied the advice properly. And if not, then it could be a new opportunity for you to get some even more specific advice. and improve from there, because you can't improve without having a benchmark, and you cannot improve without having an initial starting point. So this is the main kind of uh, improvement that I would like to add. And additionally, instead of using Gemini API, which is like a very uh, big LLM, very general, I could just use more advanced AI models for deeper financial coaching. So like I said, it could automatically calculate when your loan would be paid off, and it could take in all of these future plans and future hypotheticals of, let's say you saved 20% of your money, then by 2027 you'd have this much saved up, and so on and so forth. So I'll show you how the app actually works. Um, this is let me just refresh. So this is the website, okay? Financial assistant here. I have a sample CSV already. If you want to see how it looks like, it's already going to show it to us anyways. Uh, but all right, I'll ignore it for now. But here, I'll upload it. So this is the sample data, and this basically just feeds the data back to me in table form. So here I can see, let's say I have my income, my salary, I get $5,000, and here I can see whether it's an income, whether it's expense, whether I'm spending or gaining money, and this is just the category of that spending. If I'm gaining money through my salary, it's going to say it. If I'm spending money on transport, it's going to say it here. Entertainment, healthcare, all of this stuff, and the amount of money that's spent. But just keep in mind, this is all dollars, and this is like on a monthly basis. So this is just the data again, total income and the expenses. This is the pie chart. So based on the sample data, you could see that I'm spending almost half of my money on rent. Uh, and the money that I'm spending the least on is my subscriptions, like things like Netflix and my gym subscription, things like this. And accordingly, you could just see the allocated percentage of where my money is going. So I'm saving almost a quarter of my money, which is very good, uh, but still need to tone down on most of these expenses. Okay, this is the survey. I'll just complete it very quick, just so you could see like a example response. So let's say I want to invest money. Uh, I plan to save 25,000 in 1 year. Okay, 1 year. I don't track my spending regularly. I tend to overspend on, let's say, food. Okay, I occasionally impulse buy. My monthly income is fixed. I gain a salary of 5,000, and I save around between 20 and 30%. No emergency fund. Not confident, and I'd like to learn more about how I can invest and budget my money better. And you can just select all of the options too if you want to just learn a lot about how you. And this is like based on the options here. The app could give you educational tips like how I mentioned before. Let's say you want to learn how to invest your money. The app could give you specific advice based on that, uh, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if I click the Get Advice button, it's going to be asking Gemini, and it's going to give me personalized finance advice. Okay, so here's a summary of how I'm doing. I'm currently saving a good portion of my income, which is, as we saw, is like around 20%. Uh, and I don't have an emergency fund. It basically just breaks down everything, tells me my pros, tells me my cons. Uh, and for investing and budgeting, which is what I selected here, it tells me how I can better do that. So it tells me to build an emergency fund. I obviously selected that I don't really track my spending regularly. I click no. So it tells me, hey, we recommend you to track your spending. You can use a budgeting app, uh, or like just a simple spreadsheet you can track your spending on. Okay, so food overspending, it notices that most of my other than rent, savings, food is where a large portion of my money goes to. It tells me to tackle that. Very specific general, like actionable steps I can implement. Plan my meals for the week. Actually have a grocery list and buy only from that list rather than ordering food or something like that. Uh, uh, Tips on impulse buys as well. It tells me how to optimize my budget, automate savings, and all of this stuff, and how I can invest. How I can start small and invest. It even gives me, personal like finance blogs or books I can read or even courses, so I can, actually learn how to, uh, how I want to learn more about the things in finance, so I can better, manage my money. It just gives me a final tip here, some motivation for the user. So it tells me small, consistent actions create big results, and this is obviously true because you can't really change your whole uh, spending portfolio or just budget overnight. It starts slowly, and it just tells me to make small and manageable changes each week. And this is just how the app works. The goal, like I said, for people who are clueless about finance, people who are clueless about how to manage their money, they can, I also forgot to show you how you can manually type in your data. So based on the CSV 5000, uh, here I can say that I've spent $300 on healthcare, which is a lot, honestly. But I can, just add expenses if I'm not spending money on any of the following categories. Let's say I can just say um, flight tickets or something, and then I can say I spent 200 on flight tickets. It's also going to take that into account on the pie chart. So yeah, this is how the app works. It takes in your expenses, your income, uh, and it gives you a survey, and it gives you very general and, like I said, short, concise advice for the user, so that they can, better manage